You know the drill. You're waiting for your coffee, or maybe you're just procrastinating on a deadline you definitely should be working on, and you open your phone, and there they are.
The perfect people.
Exactly. Perfect lighting, immaculate editing. They're in Bali, or a penthouse in Dubai, or, just in a bedroom that somehow looks better than my entire house.
And they have 10 million followers.
10 million. It feels like they just materialized, like they walked out of a womb with a ring light and a brand deal.
It's the modern morning ritual, isn't it, the scroll? And with it comes that overnight success myth. It's probably, it's the most pervasive lie in the creator economy.
That's what I want to get into today, because we see the polish, the travel, the checks, but we have a stack of notes today that essentially rips the drywall off this whole industry to show us the wiring.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not as pretty as the Instagram feed suggests.
No, it's not. The material we're looking at today isn't a how-to on taking better selfies. It's a structural analysis of fame.
Right.
It treats visibility not as a lightning strike or, a lottery ticket, but as an engineering problem.
Which is my favorite kind of deep dive. Because if it's engineering, it can be reverse engineered.
Precisely.
So our mission today is to walk through this roadmap. We're going to trace the arc from who is this person to global phenomena. And fair warning to you listening, the source material makes it clear that this process is unglamorous, mathematical, and honestly, a little grueling.
It removes the magic. But by removing the magic, it makes it actionable.
Okay, so let's start at the very bottom. The source calls this the zero stage, which sounds ominous.
It feels ominous when you're in it, for sure.
So take us back to day one. Because when we look at our favorite creators, we usually find them at chapter 20.
Right.
What does the source say chapter 1 actually looks like?
Well, it strips away the excuses immediately. I think a lot of us wait for the right time or the right gear. The text emphasizes that at day one, usually there is no team. There is no budget. There is no studio. It's a phone, an idea, and motivation. That's it.
Which sounds inspiring on a bumper sticker, just you and your dreams. But in practice, that's terrifying.
It is.
Because if it's just you and the phone, and the video is bad, there's no one else to blame. That's on you.
And the source is brutal about this. The video will be bad. It explicitly mentions low-quality videos and the psychological toll of getting 0 likes.
0 likes. I think that's the barrier where 99% of people just stop. It's humiliating.
Yeah.
You put yourself out there, you try to be funny or smart, and the market responds with total silence.
It hits the ego hard. But this is where we find the first critical insight in the notes. The source argues that the people who make it, the ones who actually scale, have a fundamentally different psychological relationship with that silence.
How so? Do they just have thicker skin? Or are they just delusional?
A little delusion helps, but no, it's a reframe. They don't see 0 views as a rejection.
Okay.
They see it as privacy.
Privacy. That is a very different way to look at a public platform. Unpack that for me.
Think about it. If you have 0 audience, you have 0 stakes. The source reframes this early struggle not as failure, because nobody is watching, but as the practice room.
The practice room.
It's the only time in your career you'll be truly free to experiment, to be cringe, to fail, because the world isn't looking yet.
That's actually profound. It's like singing in the shower versus singing at Wembley Stadium.
Right.
You need the shower time to figure out if you can actually hit the notes.
Exactly. And the source points out that this is the precise moment most people quit. They post 3 things, get no applause, and walk away. They mistake the practice room for the stage.
And get discouraged that there's no audience.
Right. But the 0 stage isn't about the audience. It's about the creator figuring out how to use the tools.
So the silence is a feature, not a bug. It protects you while you suck.
Correct. And you have to suck before you can be good.
Okay, I like that reframe. But let's play devil's advocate here. Let's say I embrace the suck. I'm practicing in private, but if I just keep posting bad videos, I'm not going to grow.
Yeah.
Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent, right? If I practice being boring, I'll just be a pro at being boring.
You're absolutely right. Survival isn't enough. You can't just churn out garbage forever and expect a Grammy. This brings us to what the source calls the turning point in phase 2.
Strategic identity.
Strategic identity. This is where we move from just posting to building a brand.
Okay.
Right. And the trap the source identifies here is trend chasing. In the beginning, everyone copies. You do the viral dances, you use the trending audio.
You mimic the big guys.
It's natural,
Yeah.
but the source is adamant. You cannot scale by being a second-rate version of someone else.
So you have to find your unique voice, which frankly, is the most cliché advice on the internet. Just be yourself. It's vague and usually unhelpful.
It is.
Does the source offer anything more concrete than a motivational poster?
It does. It actually aggressively critiques the be yourself advice because being yourself is unstructured. The source gives us a checklist, specifically 3 critical questions you have to answer to transition from a noisemaker to a signal creator.
Okay, let's run these down. I feel like these apply even if you aren't trying to be an influencer, if you're launching a newsletter, startup, whatever.
100%. Question 1. What makes me different?
Simple question. Very hard answer.
Incredibly hard. The source warns against generic answers like, I'm funny isn't a differentiator.
Yeah.
There are a million funny people.
Right.
I'm a funny accountant who roasts bad tax advice. That is a differentiator.
Okay, I see. It's about the intersection, the niche.
Exactly. The source lists ingredients you can add. Personality, culture, perspective. You can't just serve the coffee. You have to have a specific spice blend that nobody else has.
Got it. Question 2.
Who is my audience?
And I assume everyone is the wrong answer.
Everyone is the death of a channel. If you try to speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. You need to know exactly who is on the other end of the phone. Are you talking to tired moms? Are you talking to college dropouts interested in crypto?
You need an avatar. You need to visualize the person you're actually helping or entertaining.
Exactly, because that leads to the third and arguably most important question. What value can I give consistently?
Consistently being the key word there.
Value isn't a one-off magic trick. It's a utility. Are you making them laugh every day? Are you teaching them something every day? The source emphasizes that once you answer these 3 questions, you stop being noise.
You start being memorable.
And memorability is the currency.
Okay, but I want to push back on the consistently part because this leads us to phase 3. And this is the part that sounds like a nightmare to me.
The mathematics of consistency.
The grind. The source material seems to settle a pretty old debate here. Quality versus quantity. And for the perfectionists listening, and I know you're out there, this is going to hurt.
It's going to sting. The verdict from the source is clear. In the growth phase, consistency beats talent.
But isn't that a recipe for burnout? And honestly, isn't it better to release one masterpiece a month than 30 mediocre clips? I'd rather watch one great movie than 30 bad TikToks.
As a consumer, yes. But as a creator trying to trigger an algorithm, no.
So why not?
The source breaks this down mathematically. It's about data points. If you post once a month, you have 12 chances a year to learn what your audience likes. 12 data points.
Okay.
If you post daily, you have 365 data points.
Yeah.
You are learning 30 times faster than the perfectionist.
So it's about the iteration cycle. You're failing faster to get to the good stuff.
You're failing faster. It's a feedback loop. And the
Yeah.
source details the actions required. Daily uploads, engaging with comments, replying to DMs, learning from analytics. It is a job.
It sounds relentless. It sounds like you're working for the machine.
You are. But here is where the analysis gets really interesting. The source makes a fascinating assertion about fame. It says fame creates a compound effect.
Like interest in a savings account.
Precisely. We tend to look at a viral video and think, that's the lottery ticket, they got lucky. But the source argues that the viral moment is actually the result of hundreds of small efforts stacking up over time.
It's the tipping point, not the starting point.
Exactly. So you're paying into the account every day with those daily posts, and the viral hit is just the interest payment finally hitting.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. And there is a specific strategic concept here that I found brilliant. It's called the backlog strategy. This was my favorite takeaway from the entire text.
Break that down for me. Why is the backlog so important?
Okay, so imagine you open a physical store. You put one incredible viral product in the window. Maybe it's a revolutionary new sneaker. People see it, they get excited, and they rush through the front door.
Okay, I'm in the store.
But when you get inside, the shelves are empty. There's nothing else there.
Then I leave.
You leave. And worse, you don't remember the store. You just remember the one shoe. The backlog strategy is the idea that when a video finally goes viral, when the algorithm finally blesses you, you must be ready.
Right. You need a library of strong existing content already on your profile.
So the new viewer comes for the viral hit, but stays for the backlog.
Precisely. That backlog gives them a reason to hit the follow button. If you go viral on your first video, it's actually almost wasted. It's a tragedy.
Because there's nothing else for the viewer to consume.
Nothing. You haven't built a trap to keep them there.
I love the phrase built the trap. It sounds predatory, but it's just retention mechanics.
It's bingeability. You want them to watch the viral clip, Then click your profile and lose the next 20 minutes watching your previous 50 videos.
So going back to phase one, all that wasted time in the zero stage, all those videos that got 100 views that we felt bad about.
Not wasted.
They weren't wasted. They were stocking the shelves.
They were inventory. You were building the asset class that converts a casual viewer into a long-term follower.
That reframe completely changes how I feel about low-performing content.
Yeah.
It's not a flop. It's just stock for later. It's inventory. And once you have the inventory and you have the consistency and you have the audience, now you have a new problem. You're popular. Maybe you're New York famous or crypto Twitter famous.
Okay.
But the title of our source material isn't how to have a nice following. It's how to become famous worldwide.
The global leap. This is phase 4.
And this is the hardest jump.
How do we bridge the gap from niche favorite to globally recognizable? Because I feel like a lot of creators get stuck at that 100K or 500K level. They own their corner, but they can't cross the ocean.
They hit a ceiling because they can't transcend their bubble. The source strategy here shifts from deep to wide. It outlines 3 pillars of globalization.
Let's dissect them.
Pillar 1, language. The source explicitly says using simple global language.
Now, does that mean literally speaking English? Or is it more about how you speak?
It's about accessibility and cognitive load. It means stripping away the hyperlocal slang, the inside jokes that only your town or your specific subculture understands.
So if I'm making jokes about the G train in Brooklyn, I'm capping my audience at people who live in Brooklyn.
Exactly. If you want to be global, you have to speak in themes that resonate in New York, in Tokyo, in Rio, and in Mumbai.
Right.
You look at the biggest creators, Mr. Beast, Khaby Lame. Their content is almost linguistically neutral. You don't need to understand a specific dialect to understand the story.
Universal themes. Fear, money, survival, satisfying moments.
Delivered simply, that's the key.
Okay, pillar 2.
Distribution. The text says posting across multiple platforms. You can't just be a TikTok person or a YouTuber. You have to be ubiquitous.
This goes back to the grind, though. Managing 5 platforms sounds impossible for one person.
It is, but the strategy is asset leverage. You make one core piece of content and you slice it. You reframe it for shorts, for reels, for TikTok, for X. You have to be everywhere the audience is.
Because you don't know where your next million fans are hiding.
Exactly. It's casting a wider net.
And the third pillar.
Network. Specifically, collaborating with international creators.
This is interesting. We usually see collabs as just friends hanging out or a marketing stunt.
The source views it as diplomacy. It's audience diplomacy. It's cross-pollination. If you have an audience in the US and you collab with a creator in Brazil, you aren't just making a video, you are opening a trade route.
That is a fascinating way to put it.
You are suddenly visible to millions of people who had no idea you existed, endorsed by someone they already trust. You're importing and exporting eyeballs.
You're merging populations. But I have to pause here because I feel a little cynical about this part. There is a massive tension in this global phase, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
We spent phase 2 talking about finding a unique voice and specific spice. But now in phase 4, the advice is to simplify, remove local flavor, and go broad.
You've spotted the paradox.
It feels like a sellout risk. If I simplify my language and stop making my specific jokes so that someone in a different hemisphere understands me, don't I lose the soul of what made me good?
Don't I just become generic? That is the central conflict of scale. The source acknowledges this tension. It warns you to understand algorithms and trends, but claims you must maintain that original style.
Which is easier said than done.
It's a tightrope walk. As you broaden your appeal to go global, you risk diluting the product. You become corporate safe. You become vanilla. The source says the best creators manage to keep their personality while simplifying their delivery.
So you simplify the packaging, but not the human.
That's the goal. But in practice, it's the hardest thing to do.
So, zooming out, we've gone from the privacy of zero, through the identity crisis, into the math of the grind, and finally to the global stage. What does this all mean for you, the listener, who, let's be honest, probably isn't trying to be the next major influencer?
Why does this matter to the accountant or the teacher listening?
Exactly. Or the person just trying to build a small consulting business.
When you synthesize this whole roadmap, I think the core philosophy is empowering. Fame or success in any field is built, not given.
It's not a lottery.
It's not a lottery. It looks like one from the outside, but the mechanics are accessible. The takeaways are universal. First, start before you're ready.
Embrace the zero stage. Use the privacy to get good.
Second, be consistent. Trust the compound effect. Understand that your early work is just inventory for your future success.
Stock the shelves so when the customer walks in, there's something to buy.
And third, be authentic, but be strategic about it. Answer those questions about who you are and who you serve.
It's funny, we started this whole deep dive talking about how lucky these influencers look, how it seems like magic. But when you look at the mechanics, the practice, the backlog, the cross-platform distribution, it looks a lot less like luck.
And a lot more like work.
Work.
It's highly strategic, data-driven work disguised as magic.
Which in a way is the best news possible.
Yeah.
Because if it's magic, I can't do it. I wasn't born with a magic wand. But if it's work, if it's engineering,
And then anyone can pick up the tools.
then we can at least try. Whether you're launching a channel, a business, or just a new version of yourself, the roadmap is the same. Start ugly, keep going, and build your library.
Couldn't have said it better.
Before we sign off, though, I want to leave you with that final tension we touched on, the paradox of scale.
The cost of going global.
The source emphasizes simple global language as the key to the kingdom. But I want to ask you, if we all start optimizing for the same global algorithm, if we all start speaking the same universal language to get the most views, what happens to culture?
Are we connecting the world or are we just flattening it?
Do we risk losing the weird, hyper-local, unique voices that make the internet interesting just to chase the widest possible audience? Is there a point where going global actually requires less authenticity?
That's the billion-dollar question, and one we probably won't solve today.
Something to chew on while you're scrolling today. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.